All right, hello everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, Fall Food Favorites. You've got coaches Shelby and Ashley here today to give you some great ideas for those in-season foods. Before we get started though, just a couple of items to take care of. We will hopefully have time for a few questions at the end of the presentation, and you can type those into the question box in the lower portion of your control panel. We will be posting a recording of the webinar online, but if you would like a copy of the presentation in PDF format, which you probably will because there's some fantastic recipes today. Or if your question does not get answered, please email our support inbox, which will be shown at the end as well. So let's get started. Today we're going to share with you some of our favorite fall recipes. This is by no means a complete recipe list, and we encourage you to go online and search for some more good options. We will touch on some of the best in-season foods. We will talk about the health benefits and why you should take advantage of them when they are around, and then we will share actual recipes for you to try tonight. One big goal to accomplish today was to give you some ideas and recipes that won't overwhelm you. Speaking for myself, because Ashley is actually a great cook and has her own garden, but I am not a very good cook. I get overwhelmed very easily when it comes to seeing recipes and using different foods that I'm not used to. But I promise, these recipes are fantastic and do not require special skills in the kitchen because, trust me, I have none of those. So we want to start today by going over some of the vitamins and nutrients that are present in a lot of the foods we're going to talk about, just so we don't have to keep repeating ourselves with each food. We won't spend a lot of time on this, but it's very important to remember that there are vitamins and nutrients that our body either doesn't make at all or it doesn't make enough of to get from outside sources, outside foods. And many of the processed foods we eat today contain none of those, basically. So finding in-season foods, whole foods like these that contain those essential nutrients are a fantastic way to help keep your body running as well as it possibly can. Ashley's going to start us off here.
Okay, so the first one is vitamin A. So our body converts carotenoids from foods that we get, many of them that will be listed here today, into vitamin A, which is an antioxidant. So that's going to help with vision, skin, and protect us against cancers. Vitamin C's benefits include supporting our immune system, helping repair and regenerate our tissue, protecting us against heart disease, and aiding in the absorption of iron, which is also another vitamin nutrient that will be included. Vitamin K is going to help with our blood clotting and also support the maintenance of strong bones. Calcium, again, strong bones, teeth, and muscle tissue, also supports nerve function and blood clotting. Iron, which helps improve our blood quality and increase our resistance to stress and disease. And finally, potassium, which is going to help with fluid balance and helping to control activity of the heart muscle, nervous system, and kidneys.
Okay, let's move on to the B vitamins. We're not going to cover all of them. I'm just going to highlight 4 that are in a lot of the foods we will discuss today. First is thiamine, or vitamin B1. This vitamin supports our nervous and cardiovascular systems. It supports the health of the digestive tract, skin, hair, eyes, mouth, liver, as well as improving the body's stress response. Riboflavin, or vitamin B2, is next. This is crucial with energy production, healthy skin, nails, and hair, which is similar to thiamine, like I just said. A big one for a lot of the women out there is that it helps regulate our thyroid, which can be a big problem. And it helps protect the nervous and immune systems. Niacin, or B3, is next. Similar to the others, it supports the cardiovascular system, and this one specifically helps our cholesterol. Some of you may be familiar with niacin prescriptions as a recommendation from doctors to help those cholesterol levels. Getting in a natural dose with these foods can help your body support those healthy lipid numbers. Niacin also helps our brain function, our skin, and can help with diabetes regulation, so lots of good stuff going on with that one. The last B vitamin I will touch on is pyridoxamine, or B6. This helps protect the immune system, has a positive effect on metabolism, hormone control, skin quality, and can help with a variety of other disorders. So again, lots of great things that these B vitamins help with inside our body. The last thing we'll touch on before we get into specific foods is fiber. This is in most of these foods, and a lot of you are probably familiar with the benefits of it. It's going to support our digestive health, our heart health, our cholesterol levels, and can help with weight maintenance because fiber-filled foods, similar to protein-filled foods, tend to fill us up longer so we don't eat as much throughout the day. Okay, let's get to the best part of the webinar, the recipes. Here is Ashley's first fun fall food.
Okay, the first fall food favorite we want to share with you is probably the most popular among the audience today, and that is pumpkin. Pumpkin is packed with fiber and essential vitamins like A and C, which we just talked about, to help support heart health, disease prevention, and boost your immune system. The first pumpkin recipe that we want to share with you is pumpkin pancakes. What I love about this recipe is the simplicity of the ingredient list. All you need is a ripe banana, pumpkin puree, some cinnamon or nutmeg, and 2 eggs. What you're going to do is mash up the banana and mix in the spice and pumpkin puree, and then whisk in your 2 eggs. You're going to heat up your pan on medium, add a little bit of butter or cooking spray, and then the batter. You'll have a lot of leftover pumpkin puree with this recipe, so if you want to use more of it, you can continue to make a few more pancakes and actually freeze those for later use. So if you're just making the recipe as is and saving the rest of the pumpkin puree for another time, this recipe is going to make you 2 large pancakes. The next recipe is one of my favorites. If you love pumpkin spice lattes, this recipe is definitely for you. This pumpkin spice latte mix is a great way to still indulge in the latte goodness without all of the artificial ingredients that come with the pumpkin syrups that you're going to typically get from your coffee shop varieties. So really for this recipe, you begin by making a simple syrup with sugar and water. You're going to heat that to a boil, then toss in some of your pumpkin spice and pumpkin puree, which you could use the leftover as you made your pumpkin pancakes that morning. This will basically create for you a coffee creamer. So you simply would brew your coffee like you normally would, or get your coffee maybe from somewhere else. You can add in a little bit of this latte mix with a splash of whole milk, and you have your own homemade pumpkin spice latte. The recipe is going to make enough for multiple cups of coffee, and it'll last you about 3 weeks in the refrigerator. The last pumpkin recipe that we have is a fun one to get your kids involved with. So this year, once they're done carving their pumpkins, have them throw all those seeds in a separate bowl and clean them off. Let them dry at least 24 hours. And when you're ready to bake your pumpkin seeds, simply preheat your oven to 250 degrees. Spread the seeds out evenly on a cookie sheet. You can add in your favorite seasonings. Here we have a recipe for sweet and spicy pumpkin seeds, or you could do the opposite, a Italiano version. Whatever spices and seasonings you want to add, though, it doesn't have to be those. Sprinkle on the seasoning, drizzle with some olive oil, and you're just going to bake for about an hour and a half. Before we move on to the next fall food favorite, one thing I wanted to note with all these recipes, the first 2 include pumpkin puree. This is not to be confused with a pumpkin pie filling, which is going to have a lot of added extra sugar that you want to try to avoid. So be sure if you are going to make one of these recipes that you're just getting that canned pumpkin puree.
Perfect. All right, next one is spaghetti squash. Now this vegetable has gotten more and more buzz in the last few years, and rightfully so. It is rich in the B vitamins that we already touched on, the riboflavin, the niacin, the thiamine, and which are going to promote those healthy functions of the body. It also contains folate. If you've had a child or you're currently pregnant, this nutrient should be very familiar to you. It promotes the development of new cells and may help prevent birth defects. So if you're pregnant right now, get to the farmer's market or grocery store and load up on this. Along with that benefit, it also has potassium, which we discussed earlier as well, and how it affects our fluid balance and activity in our heart. The last one I will mention is manganese, which is a mineral that assists in bone and tissue health, metabolism, calcium absorption, and nerve function. So again, so many good things in all of these foods. So the first recipe I chose for this one is just the simple baked spaghetti squash. This is the best and the easiest way to use spaghetti squash. All you need, grab your squash, half a cup of water. If you want to use marinara sauce or any sauce of your choice, because you're going to treat this like spaghetti. So we want to use the better carbs. That's the purpose of using the spaghetti squash versus regular spaghetti. And I actually will have a recipe coming up of making your own sauce here in just a minute. And then you can top it with olive oil, parsley, cilantro, salt and pepper, whatever it may be. So again, you're just going to preheat the oven, cut the squash in half lengthwise, scoop out those seeds from the middle, stick it in a casserole dish, add that half a cup of water to the dish, and you're going to bake 30 to 35 minutes. Depending on how big the squash is, if it's a bigger one, you're definitely going to need to cook it longer than that, but just stick a fork in it. When it's tender, it's done. And then so after it's done, what you're going to do is you're going to simply rake your fork back and forth to remove the flesh. And it comes out just like spaghetti. It's going to come out in those strands. So easy. Plop it on a plate, you're good to go. You can use it as a side dish with that homemade marinara sauce, like I said, and then you can add those other toppings. So something to add with this, which is my next recipe, is just the spaghetti squash and meatballs. So you're going to prepare the spaghetti squash just like you did in the last recipe, but here's a homemade sauce to make, just to try. Olive oil, garlic cloves. If you don't have garlic, garlic powder, minced garlic, all that good stuff works as well. 2 tablespoons tomato paste, crushed tomatoes, or if you've got fresh ones, even better. Oregano, and this one has salt and black pepper. Again, I mean, you can make whatever sauce you want. This is just an example for you to try. So make it like any other sauce. You're going to heat the olive oil in a saucepan over the medium to high heat. Add the garlic first if you've got whole garlic, and stir that around. Cook that for a bit, about a minute, and then you're going to add the tomato paste. Cook for another minute. Stir in tomatoes and the oregano, and then season with your salt and pepper. You're going to bring that up to a boil, and then you just simmer it for about 20 minutes until it thickens up. So again, make that on top. And then for meatballs, again, I just chose a recipe. You don't have to use turkey, beef, venison, whatever you want to do is fine. This is just an option for you, just things to use with that spaghetti squash. So for this one, it's just breadcrumbs, Parmesan, parsley, garlic, milk, again, turkey. Again, you don't have to use the turkey. You can use beef, whatever it is. Large egg, salt, black pepper, and then the olive oil. So again, you're just going to combine these. Make the balls, and this one just has it over, just heat it in the oven, on the stove. There's lots of recipes out there if you want to bake them as well.
And the great thing, just to add to about making your own spaghetti sauce, you may say, well, why would I do that? Why wouldn't I just go to the grocery store and buy a jar of it? The thing is, if you look at your, the next time you're opening your pantry, take a look at your spaghetti sauce and look at the sugar content in there. There is a lot of added sugar in the spaghetti sauces that we're buying at the grocery store. So making your own helps you to really reduce some of that unnecessary added sugars.
Absolutely.
Okay, next up we have butternut squash. So again, fall is the season for squash. Butternut squash is going to be another variety with big health benefits. Like the spaghetti squash, butternut squash can seem a little intimidating to prepare, but as long as you have a good knife, and for this one a potato peeler, you'll be all set. So the butternut squash is a really good source of vitamin A, vitamin C, fiber, that vitamin B6, the antioxidants, and potassium. So to prepare, just to begin for this recipe, to prepare the butternut squash for these recipes, it's really best to first cut it in half between the neck and the bulb. This is going to make peeling it a lot easier. So once you cut it in half, you can then remove the seeds on the inside, similar to the spaghetti squash, and then peel the outside of it with a potato peeler. At that point, it's ready to go. You just have to cut it up into 1-inch cubes. And fall is a great time to stock up on these squash varieties, as they are in their peak season and they're usually at their cheapest. So, when you're preparing this one, if you wanted to purchase a few of them, prepare them, cut them all up at the same time, do a little bit of the legwork first, you can freeze these as well, already cut up into 1-inch cubes. So the first recipe is butternut crock-pot butternut squash soup. And it's a lot simpler than it looks, so don't let the ingredient list scare you. You're just going to begin by cubing up the squash like we talked about. You may just grab a bag from the freezer if you decide to go that route. Toss that in a crock pot along with your vegetable stock or chicken if you prefer, your garlic, carrots, apples, sage, onion, salt, pepper, any of the seasonings you want to add. This one includes a little cinnamon and nutmeg. Throw all the ingredients in a crock pot for 6 to 8 hours, and at the end you can simply pour that mixture into a blender, or if you have an immersion blender, puree it all up, add in a little whole milk or coconut milk, and you have your soup. It's going to make a good size amount of it, so if it's just you or a few people in your household, this is something else that once it's prepared, you can always freeze for later down the road. And Shelby alluded to this a little bit. It's okay if you don't have fresh garlic or some of these spices and herbs. You know, the jar version of them works just as well. It's just a matter of flavor and preference for some. But if you don't have it, don't feel like you can't make the recipe because you don't have the fresh version of it. All right, next up is just roasted butternut squash. So first you're going to just preheat your oven to 425 degrees, line a cookie sheet with parchment paper. You don't have to have the parchment paper. I think it's helpful. It's a quick, easy cleanup, and it's going to prevent sticking to the cookie sheet. So you can line that, and then either cube up your squash. If you already have it cubed up, great. Throw it in a mixing bowl, add in some olive oil, salt, garlic powder, chili powder. Again, you can swap some of these seasonings to your preference. Mix it all together, and then just arrange it evenly on the cookie sheet. You'll bake it for about 15 minutes. Flip it over, bake for another 15 minutes. And this is really going to make a great side for any meal. You could even top an egg on there if you want, an over easy egg, and have it as a breakfast if you'd like. Many people like to make a whole batch of this roasted butternut squash to have for the week, whether it be for their lunch each day or for their dinners as leftovers.
I like cinnamon on my butternut squash. Good stuff.
All right, and then another one is the chili. So really the key thing here is, you know, it's a general chili recipe. The point is, cut up that butternut squash, add it into your chili. People who are hesitant and maybe trying butternut squash, sometimes this is a good way to do it because it disguises it a little bit. And again, it's just a good way to get in some of the health benefits of the butternut squash without directly eating it as is with just some seasoning. So again, you can use really any chili recipe that you prefer. Just toss in a little bit of the cubed up butternut squash that you might either cubed up at the time, or again, pulling from the freezer if you stocked up on it.
All right, next is cauliflower. Cauliflower is really amazing. It's got the vitamin C, K, fiber, B vitamins. It actually has one of the B vitamins we didn't mention, choline. Choline is super important for brain development, so another great one for you to protect your own brain and for you pregnant or trying to get pregnant women out there. Potassium, that we already talked about, phytonutrients, which I'm going to talk about when we get to apples, magnesium, which is fantastic and has been actually found to be deficient in a lot of people. It's really important with energy levels. Who doesn't want more energy, right? It helps calm nerves and anxiety, helps with digestion, can help with migraines, among many other benefits. It's a pretty big deal, so make sure you're getting your daily amount in, and cauliflower is a great way to help do that. The last and most important, in my opinion, nutrient cauliflower has is what's called sulforaphane. I apologize if I say that wrong, if anyone knows that. This is a sulfur compound that has been shown to kill cancer stem cells. Some researchers believe that eliminating the cancer stem cells may be the key in controlling cancer. Very exciting stuff. So one example of how you can use cauliflower to help fight or prevent cancer is combining it with curcumin, which is the active compound in the spice turmeric. Turmeric comes from Asia and it's used in many Indian dishes, curry you would find it in. It has extremely high anti-inflammatory properties, as does the sulforaphane. So combining these two can be a great way to get in some great cancer-fighting nutrients. And just an additional note on turmeric, You can add it to anything. Smoothies, tea, season the fall veggies with it instead of cinnamon, use that. Use it with black pepper if you can, because the black pepper increases its bioavailability, which is just a fancy way of saying it makes it so your body can absorb it and use it better. Okay, so back to the cauliflower. Let's talk recipes. In both of the recipes for this, the goal here, similar to the spaghetti squash, is to replace the processed carbs with natural carbohydrates. So the first one I've got is cauliflower crust pizza. Yes, I said pizza. You can have pizza. And now I've talked to many, many people who say, I've tried the cauliflower crust pizza. I can't do it. It's not good. It's too soggy. It's gross. Try it again. Trust me. There are a million different variations of how to make it out there. Some are terrible, I agree. But keep trying. I'm hoping this one will be good for you. Keep trying for what works. So this one, again, you're just going to get your nonstick spray. I prefer olive oil or coconut oil. You can get coconut oil spray now too. You'll get your 2½ cups of the grated cauliflower, which is about half of a large head. You can also use a food processor if you don't have a grater. That's a little quicker. You're going to need a large egg, 1 1/4 cups of mozzarella, some Parmesan, salt and pepper. I like to use Italian seasoning because it makes it a little more pizza-like. 1/4 cup tomato sauce, and then your toppings. So make it natural, make it whole. Your tomatoes, red pepper flakes, basil leaves, garlic, whatever it is in your pizza. So preheat in the oven. You're going to line a baking sheet because it can get sticky. So place the grated cauliflower in a large bowl, and then you're going to microwave that until it gets soft. Then you're going to remove it and let it cool. You can put a damp towel, or not a damp towel, you can put a towel or paper towel over to remove some excess water if there is any in there. Then you're going to mix in the egg, the mozzarella, the Parmesan, the salt and pepper, and then you're going to pat it into the pizza. Then you're going to spray lightly with the nonstick spray. You're going to bake that for about 10 to 15 minutes. Again, depending on your oven, might be a little different. Then you're going to top it with the sauce, the mozzarella, whatever toppings you've got until it's melted, about another 10 minutes or so. So again, try it out. I think you'll be surprised at how good it can actually be. There's so much stuff in pizza crust and pizza that is terrible for us. So if we can get as natural as we can, you can still have your pizza.
And the key with some of these crusts too is simply, as you're preparing that cauliflower, that grated, is to, if you have to put it in a towel to get some of the moisture out of it, do that. That's going to be important. That's going to help to eliminate some of that sogginess that you may have gotten if you tried it before.
Yep. Perfect. All right, so next one is just simple cauliflower rice. Again, our goal is to replace the more processed regular white rice with something that actually has some nutrients in it. So for this one, you just need your large head of cauliflower, olive oil, and then whatever seasonings you want to go on it. So you're going to just wash it and dry it. You're going to remove the greens, and then you're going to cut it into 4 even sections. So for this one, again, you can use a box grater, which you're going to want to use the medium-sized holes, or you can use a food processor to grate the cauliflower into the size of rice. Make sure it looks like rice. Then you're going to transfer to that clean towel or paper towel, and again, what Ashley just said, press it to remove that excess moisture. That's going to cause or get rid of a lot of the headaches that people have with the sogginess. Then you're going to just saute that in a large skillet on medium heat with that oil. Cover it, which steams it a bit, just like your steamed rice, and it gets it more tender. About 5 to 8 minutes. Again, it's going to depend on your stove. And then you can season it with pepper or any other seasonings that you want. Again, this is a great side for some good steak or meat or whatever it is.
Okay, cabbage. So the next one is cabbage. There's 2 common types that you're probably familiar with, red and green. Cabbage is going to be another one of those fiber-filled fall veggies that is low in calories and rich in vitamins and minerals like vitamin K, vitamin C, and vitamin B. A lot of times when people hear cabbage, they might think of just corned beef and cabbage or cabbage soup, but there are a lot of other great ways to enjoy this vegetable. The first recipe that we're going to share with you today is going to be beef and cabbage stir fry. So if you're hungry for a healthier version of this Asian cuisine, this is going to be a great recipe to try. What you're going to do here is you're going to start out by making your own stir fry sauce. with soy sauce, sesame oil, sriracha, brown sugar. You know, if you just have hot sauce and you don't have the sriracha, that's fine. You know, if you have a different type of oil, that's okay too. It's just more of a flavor preference there, so you can mix and trade. And then really the point with the homemade stir-fry sauce is that similar to the pumpkin spice latte mix, this recipe is going to allow you to control the type of ingredients that you're putting in versus buying a pre-made sauce that's going to, again, contain some of the unnecessary sugars and artificial ingredients. So once you've prepared your sauce, you're just going to brown your meat, add in your seasonings, add in your cabbage, and once that's wilted, add in your stir-fry sauce, and you're good to go. The second one is garlic roasted cabbage steaks. This is one of my favorite ways to prepare cabbage. So it's really simple. All you're going to do is take your cabbage, peel off the outer leaves, cut the cabbage into 1-inch slices from top to bottom, rub with some fresh smashed garlic if you have it. If not, you can sprinkle with olive oil and then sprinkle some garlic salt or garlic powder on there. And you're just going to bake it for 30 minutes, flip it over, bake the other side, and you have a great side, again, to add with any form of protein you have for your lunch or dinner meal. If you're feeling really adventurous and you want to purchase a bunch of cabbage right now while it's in season, you could also shred it up and ferment it on your own to make sauerkraut. So fermented foods like sauerkraut, which is, again, fermented cabbage, is a great way to help promote healthy gut bacteria.
All right, apples are next. So this is one that most people, we know it's a fall food, and everyone has grown up with people telling them, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? Well, there is a lot of truth to that. Apples contain a wealth of nutrients, just a few of them listed here. Similar to other foods, they've got vitamin C, K, B6, riboflavin, potassium, magnesium, 12% of our daily. That is including the peel, so make sure you eat that as well. A couple other ones worth mentioning are manganese, which helps the body absorb calcium. It helps the function of thyroid and sex hormones. It helps regulate blood sugars, and it helps metabolize fats and carbs. The other one mentioned here is phytonutrients. Like cauliflower, like I mentioned before, apples contain these, which can help prevent disease and help keep your body working properly. So we're getting a little short on time, so we're going to go fairly quick through these last recipes here. I chose simple ones for apples because they're pretty much my favorite food, and again, I can't cook, so simple. Half a cup of water, 6 Granny Smith apples or whatever apples that you want, cinnamon, and then optional, you can have walnuts or pecans to put on top. So peel these, which is actually optional. Again, if you want to keep those nutrients in the peel, keep those on. Put them onto the skillet, medium to low heat, add the water, add the apples and then the cinnamon to taste, just stirring, cooking till they get soft, and then you can add more water if needed during that, and then eat them plain, or Greek yogurt is a really good thing to pair with these apples. Next one, healthier apple crisp. Apple crisp is my favorite food, or my favorite dessert in the whole entire world, and I thought I better find a healthier recipe because it's pretty sad how much I eat in the fall. So this is a good one. 3 apples, cinnamon, sugar, flour for the main part, and then the topping, just a cup of quick oats, vanilla, cinnamon, a little bit of brown sugar, and some butter. And yes, butter is better than margarine. Go with butter. So mix the first 4 ingredients, put them into the baking dish, mix the topping ingredients until it's crumbly, sprinkle over the apples, bake at 325 until everything is soft and brown, about 30 minutes, and you are good to go. It's delicious. And again, look at those ingredients, very little compared to some of the other apple crisp ingredients. And last one real quick with the apples is just homemade applesauce. It's so easy to make, and then you're not getting that added sugar, which I know we've preached on all webinar, but it's so important to avoid excess sugar. So this one, peeled and chopped. Cinnamon is the one I used here. More if you want to use more than 1/4 of a teaspoon, and then around 1/2 cup of water. Because what you're going to do is you're going to put the ingredients in a pot and then just bring it to a boil, and then you're going to simmer it for about 20 minutes until soft. And then when you remove it, you can decide. If you like the chunkier applesauce, just use a potato masher. If you want smoother, use a food processor or a blender. So really easy ways to get those apples in, and just different.
All right, the last one we have, I think today, oh, no, sorry, we have one more after this, kale. The big thing to point out with kale here, you can see kale is become very popular over the past couple of years. Great benefits, again, vitamin K, vitamin A, vitamin C, fiber, iron. Just looking at the first recipe that we have is sauteed kale, and then we also have a ham steak with kale and black bean salad. So to quickly just go through this, the 2 points to make with these recipes, and you'll have them, is that try different things. Sauteing this with some different seasonings. Balsamic vinegar is this one, a vegetable stock or chicken stock. Try it again. Sometimes it's just a matter of what you're using to flavor it or how you're preparing it. So whether you saute it, some people prefer it grilled. Some people really enjoy the kale chips still. Some people absolutely hate them. So give it another shot if you tried it, and just try a different way of preparing kale. With the ham and steak, or the ham steak and the kale and black bean salad, the great thing here is that it's a homemade dressing, which is very good. Again, you're eliminating the artificial ingredients that you don't need. You're eliminating some of the unhealthy oils that we get from store-bought salad dressings. But when you're having kale in a salad, what really helps it out is take the leaves off the stem, massage those leaves for a little bit with a little bit of olive oil, maybe a minute or two in your bowl. Kale is a tougher leafy green, so if you can massage that a little bit, it's just going to help with the flavor and the texture of it in a salad.
All right, last one here, zucchini. Again, similar benefits: potassium, fiber, antioxidants, folate, magnesium, beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin C, and calcium. All right, zucchini lasagna. Probably could have guessed that I was going to do this. This has been a popular one. So again, lasagna recipes, they're going to vary, similar to everything we've done. This is one option for you. This one does have ground beef in it. So you're going to have all of these. We've got the onion, we've got the zucchini, and you want to slice the zucchini about 1/8 inch thick the long way. If you have a mandolin slicer, that's the best. Don't have a slicer, you can chop these the short way too and just layer them on. It doesn't have to be the long way, it's just easier, and it looks more like lasagna that way. So these are the ingredients, and again, if you want these, please make sure you email us, because I know we're going through this pretty fast here. Again, just like you would a regular lasagna, you just preheat it, add the veggies, add everything, layer it on there. You can actually grill the zucchini slices too to make it a little different taste on there. That's one option here. But again, you're just mixing the other ingredients, layering it on top of each other, and then you've got your lasagna. And last one, the baked Parmesan zucchini sticks. These are so good. You're just going to quarter the zucchini lengthwise. You got Parmesan, thyme, oregano, basil, garlic powder, black pepper. Again, these are all probably in your house. It's super easy. Oil and then parsley, and then preheat the oven. You're going to, again, combine everything, basically just throw it on the zucchini sticks and throw it into the oven. And then this one actually has you broil it as well to make them crispier. So if you like that, go ahead and use the broiler too. All right, and then here's just some more options. There's a ton of foods that are in season right now. So again, experiment, look up different things. Try something new. That's all about, there's so many nutrients in all of these foods that we're not eating enough of. So be experimental, see what you got. All right. So we are done. We've got some upcoming webinars. We've got Winter Wonderland in November, how to stay active in cold weather, and then December, handling the holidays, how to stay healthy during the most wonderful time of the year. Again, I promised you the email. It's healthcoach@healthcheck360.com. Again, if you want the recipes in PDF format, if you didn't have a chance to write them down, email us. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram. You can watch the past webinars on our blog, or this webinar that will be on either later today or tomorrow, which is healthcheck360blog.com, or give us a call anytime. We'd love to chat. Call our health coaches. All right, and I apologize, we do not have time for questions. So again, if you have questions, please email the health coach at healthcheck360.com. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Have a great day.